Sicily has long been a jewel in the Mediterranean's crown. Its golden beaches, ancient ruins, and vibrant culture have drawn millions of visitors each year. From the bustling streets of Palermo to the shadow of Mount Etna, Sicily offers a feast for the senses. But beneath this picturesque surface, a crisis is brewing. Water, the very essence of life, is becoming scarce. This scarcity threatens not only the island's thriving tourism industry, but also the daily lives of its residents. The situation has become so dire that some areas are now turning away tourists. This dichotomy raises important questions about sustainability, climate change, and the future of tourism. As we delve deeper into Sicily's water crisis, we'll explore its causes, impacts, and potential solutions. We'll hear from locals and tourists alike, painting a picture of a paradise at a crossroads. It's a cautionary tale for tourist destinations worldwide, a glimpse into a future where climate change reshapes the landscape of global travel. The water crisis in Sicily has reached alarming proportions. Reservoirs are at historic lows, taps in some areas run dry for hours or even days. The situation is particularly acute in the western part of the island. Cities like Trapani and Palermo are struggling to meet basic water needs. Even rural areas, traditionally less affected by urban water issues, are feeling the pinch. The numbers paint a grim picture. Some reservoirs are at less than 50% capacity. Local authorities have implemented water rationing in many areas. Residents are forced to adapt to scheduled water availability. Some receive water only every other day or for a few hours each day. This unpredictability has become a source of constant stress and frustration. The crisis extends beyond household use. Agriculture, a key sector of Sicily's economy, is under severe strain. Farmers are struggling to irrigate their crops. Vineyards, citrus groves, and olive orchards are all at risk. The potential loss of these iconic products could have far-reaching consequences for the island's economy and cultural identity. The water crisis in Sicily is not a sudden occurrence. It's the result of a complex interplay of factors. At the forefront is climate change. Sicily, like much of the Mediterranean, is experiencing longer, hotter summers. Rainfall patterns have become erratic. Winter rains, crucial for replenishing water reserves, have become less reliable. This changing climate is putting unprecedented stress on the island's water resources. But climate change is not the only culprit. Sicily's water infrastructure is aging and inefficient. Leaky pipes and outdated distribution networks result in significant water loss. Some estimates suggest that up to 40% of water is lost before it reaches consumers. Poor water management practices have also contributed to the crisis. Unsustainable agricultural practices, including water-intensive crops in arid areas, have strained resources. Urbanization has increased demand in cities, often outpacing infrastructure improvements. The result is a system ill-equipped to handle the challenges of a changing climate. The water crisis has profoundly affected the daily lives of Sicilians. Basic tasks like cooking, cleaning, and personal hygiene have become challenging. Families are forced to adapt to irregular water supplies. This constant worry about water availability has added a new layer of stress to everyday life. Local businesses are struggling to cope. They must balance hygiene requirements with limited water supplies. For farmers, the crisis is particularly acute. Some are switching to less water-intensive crops. The crisis is testing community bonds even as it brings some neighbors together in mutual support. Section 5. Tourism takes a hit, visitors turned away. Sicily's tourism industry, a vital economic engine, is reeling from the water crisis. The island, which typically welcomes millions of visitors each year, is now facing an unprecedented situation. Some areas have taken the drastic step of turning away tourists. Hotels are being asked to limit occupancy or even close temporarily. This is not just a minor inconvenience, it's a seismic shift for an industry accustomed to growth. Many arrive unaware of the severity of the situation. They're met with restrictions on water use in hotels. Some find themselves unable to shower regularly or flush toilets as often as they're used to. Pools are closed or only partially filled. These conditions are far from the idyllic Mediterranean vacation many had envisioned. As news of the crisis spreads, cancellations are on the rise. Local tour operators and small businesses that rely on tourism are feeling the brunt of the crisis. The economic ripple effect is spreading through communities that have come to depend on tourist dollars. the crisis is forcing a rethinking of Sicily's tourism model. Section 6. Government response: too little, too late. The Sicilian government's response to the water crisis has been a mix of emergency measures and long-term planning. In the short term, authorities have implemented water rationing in many areas. They've also increased water trucking to the most affected regions. Public awareness campaigns have been launched to encourage water conservation. These measures, while necessary, have been criticized by some as reactive rather than proactive. Longer-term initiatives are also underway. The government has announced plans to upgrade water infrastructure. This includes repairing leaky pipes and improving water treatment facilities. There's also talk of building new desalination plants to increase water supply. However, these projects require significant time and investment. Many Sicilians are skeptical about whether they will be completed in time to address the current crisis. Critics argue that the government's response has been too slow and inadequate. Section 7. Voices from the ground: personal stories. The water crisis in Sicily is more than statistics. It's a deeply personal issue affecting millions. Maria, 68, shares her daily struggle. Maria: I wake up at 4 a.m. to fill buckets. Many elderly Sicilians recall past shortages. Giovanni, a farmer, faces tough choices. Giovanni: I've had to let half my land go fallow. His situation highlights the economic impact. Tourists too are caught in the crisis. Sarah: we couldn't even take a proper shower. It's opened our eyes to how precious water is. Section 8. The bigger picture: climate change and global tourism. Sicily's water crisis is not an isolated incident. It's a stark reminder of how climate change is reshaping the tourism landscape globally. The Mediterranean region, known for its sunny beaches and historic sites, is particularly vulnerable. Rising temperatures and changing rainfall patterns are affecting destinations from Spain to Greece. Sicily's experience could be a glimpse into the future for many popular tourist spots. The crisis raises important questions about the sustainability of mass tourism. Can destinations continue to welcome millions of visitors in a water-scarce future? The answer is complex. Some experts argue for a shift towards more sustainable tourism models. This could mean limiting visitor numbers, promoting off-season travel, or focusing on eco-friendly activities. The situation in Sicily also highlights the need for better water management in tourism. Hotels and resorts are often water-intensive operations. As climate change makes water scarcity more common, the industry will need to adapt. The crisis underscores the importance of educating tourists about environmental issues. Section 9. Economic ripple effects beyond the island. The water crisis in Sicily is having economic repercussions far beyond the island's shores. Sicily's agricultural exports, including its famous wines, citrus fruits, and olive oil, are at risk. This threatens not only local farmers but also international supply chains. Restaurants and specialty food stores around the world that rely on Sicilian products are feeling the impact. It's a reminder of how interconnected our global economy has become. The tourism downturn is also affecting industries beyond Sicily. Airlines that typically operate busy routes to the island are seeing reduced demand. Tour operators specializing in Mediterranean vacations are scrambling to adjust their offerings. Even cruise lines, which often include Sicily in their itineraries, are having to rethink their plans. The crisis is forcing a re-evaluation of tourism patterns across the entire Mediterranean region. The situation is also impacting investment in Sicily. Section 10. Looking ahead: challenges and potential solutions. As Sicily grapples with its water crisis, the path forward is both challenging and crucial. Immediate solutions focus on conservation and efficient distribution. But long-term sustainability requires more comprehensive approaches. Experts are calling for a multi-pronged strategy. This includes upgrading infrastructure, implementing advanced water management technologies, and rethinking agricultural practices. There's also growing interest in innovative solutions like desalination and water recycling. Education and public awareness will play a key role. Changing water usage habits is as important as technological solutions. Many Sicilians are already adapting, but there's room for broader cultural shifts. Schools are incorporating water conservation into their curricula. Community initiatives are promoting water-saving techniques. These efforts aim to create a more water-conscious society, essential for long-term sustainability. The tourism industry faces its own set of challenges and opportunities.